Hello and welcome to Stalwarts of Music with Aditya Veera Season 2. Today's episode is partnered by Perpetual Buzz Experiences. They are an artist representation company with three very basic but lofty goals. They're the launchpad for artists, helping them leverage success in the best possible manner. They also help fund social causes and make sure that people have a great time throughout the process. So be sure to check them out on www.perpetualbuzz.com. I'm happy to let you all know that Stalwarts of Music with Aditya Veera has won the coveted title of Best Interview Podcast of 2023 at the prestigious Hubhopper Podcast Awards. And I would like to specially thank everyone who's been supportive in terms of watching my show regularly and being of constant support. 2023 has been quite exciting in terms of music festivals and concerts happening in India. We are witnessing many international acts coming down to our country. I'd like to give a very special shout out for the Ron Keating concert happening in Bengaluru on the 18th of November, Saturday, at the Bharatiya City Mall. Get your tickets on Book My Show. Details are mentioned in my bio. Lollapalooza unveiled their show dates, and it's happening on the 27th and 28th of January 2024 at the Mahalakshmi Racecourse in Mumbai. Grab your tickets on lollaindia.com. Details are in my bio. Guitar virtuoso Steve Vai is coming down to India and doing a three-city tour in Mumbai, Bengaluru, and Kolkata on the 6th, 8th, and 9th of December 2023 for the Livebox Festival. Tickets are available on skillboxes.com. Details are in my bio. And I have a very special surprise for you all. Stalwarts of Music is making a huge milestone of 100 episodes, and I will be interviewing the legend Steve Vai to make sure that I mark my significant milestone. Speaking of my guest today, he's an influential figure whose guitar work has left a significant mark on the jazz genre since the late 1970s. He possesses a highly distinctive sound characterized by a blend of post-bop, funk-infused jazz, and R&B elements. His debut recording was with Jerry Mulligan and Chet Baker. He's been a member of the Billy Cobham and George Duke Band. He's recorded with Charles Mingus in 1977, and he later joined the Gary Burton Quartet. He toured and recorded with Miles Davis from 1982 to 1985, a period that significantly elevated his status in the jazz world. Throughout his career, he has shared the stage and studio with legends like Tony Williams, Jim Hall, Ron Carter, Herbie Hancock, and many more. He maintains a rigorous touring schedule, performing around the world approximately 200 shows every year. He's an educator, family man, in addition to his musical pursuits. He's none other than John Scofield, who serves as an adjunct professor at the New York University for music. And he's a devoted husband and father of two. So without any further ado, I'm delighted to welcome my guest for today, Mr. John Scofield. Namaste, Mr. Scofield. How are you, and which part of the world are you in right now?
I'm in New York State. I'm 1 hour from New York City, 1 hour north in Westchester County.
Marvelous. And what's happening in terms of music?
Oh, well, there's always music, I'm practicing my guitar, and I've been on tour, in and out. I went to the Monterey Jazz Festival last week where
Lovely.
I played four different concerts in California. And I leave with my trio. We go to Europe in 1 week for a month-long tour.
Incredible. I have a couple of very interesting questions coming your way as part of our agenda today. So shall we get started?
Yes.
Alrighty. Here in India, we have the notion of sadhana, which is also called as practice, right? Which really means a journey or practice, a use of a certain technique. So what has been your journey? Is there a process that you seek to cultivate, you go through, that you've been through? There are traditions that say that the truth and the reality are within you, and it's just a question of unveiling it. I'm sure you've had a musical journey. What has been the nature of the musical journey?
Well, that's very interesting because I like to think of myself as formally self-taught
Okay.
because I although I at first as a kid I took guitar lessons
Hmm.
from a private teacher when I was in high school,
Okay.
and then after that I attended Berklee College of Music for 2 years, and that's where I really learned a lot of things. And but for me, it's just been like you say, a private journey of practice
Hmm.
and thinking about music, about the kind of makeup of first of all the geometry of music, understanding that part, and then listening to music that I love and trying to understand what those artists are doing, and then learning material, really learning songs and practicing improvisation,
Hmm.
which is the key element in jazz music, um, and analyzing rhythm,
Okay.
and I found that the more I practiced, just the more I played over the years, the more I understood things that couldn't be verbalized. Uh, you just get better at all of a sudden some of the mysteries of music are unveiled without even an explanation.
Mm. Interesting. You mentioned about the whole aspect of improvisation, which is a cornerstone of jazz or any kind of music for that matter. So, can you share insights into your approach towards improvisation and how you navigate through complex progressions while still trying to
Yeah,
maintain a musical narrative? Yeah.
well, that's, I think you said a lot right there, trying to play on complex chord progressions and
Yeah.
complex rhythms, but still make it musical.
Correct.
um and that's essential, and very, I mean, I just think being familiar with the material is what
Hmm.
allows you to do that. And
Okay.
so you have to again just practice and try to become as familiar with the material so that it's like singing do re mi, which
Yeah.
is, to make it really, it simplifies it. If you really know it, then you can expand on it. And the same thing with rhythm, you
Yeah.
know and I think you pretty much explained it yourself when you just said in a few words to play improvise over complex forms, but to make it sound musical, because that's the problem with jazz music, is that it's so advanced now. There's been so much has been done that
Yeah.
younger players, myself included, when I was younger, more, I hope, um, tend to clutter up the canvas too much.
Hmm. And if you were to consider, guitar as an instrument, there are a lot of guitar geeks out here in India. So they would like to know jazz guitarists employ various types of guitars in their musical pursuit. Could you discuss your preferences for different types of guitars and how they contribute to your distinctive sound?
Yeah, there's so many different kinds of guitars. First of all, I primarily play electric guitar,
Yeah.
which, as we know, it allows us to play loud, which is what I had to do to play in bands, which is what I originally wanted to do.
Hmm.
And there are solid body electric guitars, there are hollow body electric guitars, and there's the kind of in between, which is a semi guitar, and it's thinner. It's like this
Yeah.
this thick,
Yeah.
and that's what I play. And I play an Ibanez guitar, which is actually from a Japanese company, and it's actually a copy
Hmm.
of the Gibson that came out in the 50s, the
Okay.
ES 335.
Okay.
And that's what I play is the Ibanez. Now they make a John Scofield model because I've been playing their guitars for so long, which is that guitar. But I have an old one from 1981, and I think it's important to know that I came up with playing this guitar not because it was the best one,
Okay.
but because it suited my needs. It was kind of in between solid body and hollow body. Hollow body being the traditional jazz guitar, solid body being what they played originally in rock and roll and country music. And I actually have both those other kinds of guitars and experiment with them all the time. But now I'm just so used to this kind of guitar that I play that I always end up using that to perform with. But sometimes I think it doesn't matter so much. It's like you
Yeah.
get a guitar and then you just have to play. It's like practice. You just have to do it for a long time, play that guitar, and then it becomes more of an extension of you. And if I didn't play fusion in the early days, I probably would have stuck with a big fat jazz guitar.
Given your earlier collaborations, I'd like to go a little back in time with Chet Baker. How did working alongside such a legendary figure in jazz influence your musical development and shape the way you approach your compositions?
Well, when I started out, I was a member of Jerry Mulligan's band,
Yeah.
also one of the greats of jazz. And I only played with Chet there in the beginning a few times. It's on my resume, and I made some recordings with him. Um, and it was fantastic. And
Okay.
I've gotten to play with a lot of my favorite musicians, my idols, really. The whole reason that I wanted to play was to somehow emulate and maybe someday get to play with some of these guys, and I did. And that's been a great a great experience, my greatest musical experience playing with these guys. Chet himself was very nice to me and very
Okay.
nice to all the younger musicians. While he has a reputation as a drug addict and all, uh, that wasn't my experience with him, really. But mainly when those guys play and you play on the same stage with them, you learn so much because your solo comes before or right after them, and you hear how they treat the music. And that's the lesson, a great lesson.
Yeah, must have been a very compelling experience, sharing like the stage with someone as accomplished as him. Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Is there ever fear in the process of the unfolding present, particularly before an audience? Things might go wrong. Like me being a podcaster trying to interview you, I might forget my
Yeah,
next move, right?
yeah, sure.
I might stumble, I might fumble,
Yeah.
and there's so many different elements that come together as one while you're performing. In what ways do you carry the memory of instructions as to what you have to do next because music is structured?
Yeah, I'm lucky I've gotten to do it a lot. So uh you realize you're going to make mistakes live on in concerts, and it happens all the time. And uh I'm not so afraid of the mistakes anymore because I know that they will happen. And what you have to do is you have to shake it off right away. The mistake is only for one moment, really,
Okay.
and it's not always obvious to the listener because they listen to a long piece and it's just one little second. But
Yeah.
the main thing is that you don't let it throw you, the performer. So I'm used to making mistakes. I do it all the time. And now it's not as important to me to play with no mistakes. um, and again, I feel lucky that I've gotten to perform a lot and that I started when I was very young. And I think that has helped me. I mean, I still get nervous. I played the other night in Monterey, and Herbie Hancock was there in the front of the audience, and I thought, oh my God, he's my idol. and I was a little nervous, but hey, I got through it. Here I am today to talk about it.
Yeah, it's interesting that you've come a long way and you're not too hard on yourself.
Yeah,
Mistakes
yeah.
are
Well,
quite, yeah,
yeah. I wish I would never make a mistake again. I don't like to do that,
yeah,
but the other thing is, if you really listen to the great performances, there are little mistakes in there. But
yeah,
those masters who are so good, it doesn't matter because music has mistakes in it.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, my dog is
That's okay.
barking here.
That's all right.
Yeah, let me.
You
I
can.
have to go get the dog here. Yeah,
Sure, sure, sure.
he's. I'm sorry. Here, you want to see him? He's
Yeah,
just a
of
little
course.
dog.
Oh, yeah. I have a question about him too. Yeah, yeah. That'll be coming soon. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we can continue.
Alrighty. So you graduated from Berkeley back in 1973, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I didn't graduate because I left. Um,
Right.
because I,
Right.
I was getting enough. I went for 2.5 years,
Yeah.
and I learned so much there. But
Yeah.
I really just wanted to practice. And I was playing jobs around in Boston and getting to play jazz with my friends. And yeah,
But from your learnings there, it must have provided a very solid foundation in music theory and technique. And
yeah.
of course, like you also play a role as a music educator for several many right now. What are the different kinds of things that you learned, and what are some of the different elements beyond the structure, beyond the form, and the techniques that you learned when it comes to the process of learning? What would that be for you?
Oh, I don't. I think it's no different from what we all do in our lives. You
Hmm.
put the time in, you will get the results. And
Okay.
there's only so much energy everybody has every day
Mm.
for work. You
Okay.
know, um, and I try to use my time well, but sometimes I don't. And I think most importantly is you'll be good at music if you really love music.
Right.
And if I think we are music fans first, that's really essential. And then it's just a matter of putting in the time and using your faculties to learn about music. And as far as technique, I don't. There's so much technique. I don't. I don't teach technique so much because
Okay.
it turns out there are uh, uh, so many ways to play the guitar, and this all this music that I play, starting with rock into jazz, it's not so formal on my instrument. Which, I mean, maybe it would be better if it was formal. Maybe I'd have
Yeah.
better technique. I
Right.
wish I did, but um, I think somebody said you get the sound you hear in your head. So the technique will come if you just play the music. That's what I think.
Yeah. But one can know all of these things that you mentioned and still be a lousy musician. There are people who can talk about these things really well, explain them very eloquently, and yet not synthesize them in the manner that you do in terms of music. There's something beyond knowledge, information, and technique. So, could you throw a little bit of light as to what is that bit?
Well, I don't know what that is. Some people are good, it sound good, and some other people have a harder time with it.
Okay.
Um, and it's either meant to be or it's not. It's up to the
Mm,
man up. It's up to the man upstairs. But I
yeah.
know you got to put in the time. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not. Human beings are talented
Yeah.
generally.
Yeah.
I mean, I know so many people that I meet, friends that I've met over the years, who actually have real talent at music but don't pursue it. My wife
Mm,
is like that. I have a
okay.
friend who I was just hanging out with, who who can sing all the notes beautifully to complex songs, and he just knows them always in the right key, has like perfect pitch. He's not even a musician.
Interesting take. Very interesting take. Speaking of the common man, do you really think that the common man in your community and culture is really interested and accesses and responds to music the way you intend he or she to?
Well, I think everybody loves music, pretty much.
Yeah.
They might not want to listen to the kind of jazz I like. It might be a little bit uh, strange, foreign, or comprehensive
Hmm.
that they might not be interested in it. But there are always, a small minority of people
Yeah.
all over the world who are realize that there's some quality there and will go ahead and listen. But the average person likes songs that people sing with words, and simple melodies. And I understand that. There's nothing wrong with that.
So do you happen to sort of tailor your music to different demographies while you do a
No,
performance? Yeah.
not really. No, but
Hmm.
I don't. I mean, if I came to India, for
Yeah.
me to try to play Indian style music would be an insult to
Hmm.
the great music of your country. Um, but at the same time, when you play for an audience, you can feel people reacting. You can feel it. And even if you just feel what's working.
Yeah.
And I think it's human nature for the musicians to try to play for the people. At the
Right.
same time, it's really easy to what they call play to the balcony,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
overdo it.
Yeah.
Anybody can get the audience to applaud. All you do is, play guitar behind your head or something, and the audience will go
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
easy,
Yeah.
everybody, but think of all the people that are out there that don't respond to that.
Yeah.
They're thinking, oh, I'll never go listen to this guy again. He's a fool. So it's I think you want to have your own music that you show to the people because that's real.
Right. I'd like to touch upon your tour that's upcoming. You have a very intense tour starting from the 19th of October and goes on until December 2nd. So, how have you adapted to the performance constraints that may come with age? And what strategies have you found effective in maintaining your musical excellence over the years, Mr. Schofield?
Well, you know, uh, it's true. Touring, traveling is
Hmm.
harder as I'm older now,
Yeah.
but I love to play so much and to play with my friends in the group. I mean, we don't. If I don't have concerts, we don't do that.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
can't call these great professional musicians and say, "Hey, let's all go to my house and jam." We've
Hmm.
already done that. We're past that. We want to play concerts and uh, and do what we've done all these years. So, in order for me to perform my music and to work on my own craft and to play new music, new pieces with the guys I play with, we have to do these tours.
Yeah.
So I love doing it, and I've been on the road, you know, since I was in 23. I've
Hmm.
been half the year on the road, although I have to slow down now because I just can't keep up the pace. But I still love it. And when I was younger, I used to party and drink and then go out all day and look at all the sights of the strange towns I was in. Now I don't. I conserve my energy. So that's
Hmm.
that's one thing. If I have a day off, it's a great privilege to get to visit places uh, and all. But if I just have to travel that day and play a concert, I'm not so much of a tourist because I need to rest.
Yeah. In fact, I was going through a couple of articles, and you've described yourself as a road dog that emphasize the significance of the nomadic lifestyle of jazz musicians. Right. So, how has the constant movement shaped your perspective on music and the realities of life?
Well, I don't know. I feel um, that Road Dog. I said that once, and the guy put it in that movie. And now everybody says it. I wish I hadn't said it, but uh, yeah, I've been so lucky to
Yeah.
get to travel. I mean, I never was on an airplane
Yeah.
until I was 18 years old, and I flew to my first gig. I went to Puerto Rico from New York to play, and these gigs, these what we call gigs, traveling to play music professionally, has been the the greatest thing in my life. I've spent at this point years of my life in Europe. I mean,
Mm.
many years. Even though I go for a month at a time, but I go every year for 1 or 2 months,
Okay.
and I feel like that has changed my outlook. If I just stayed here in my home in America, I think I would have more of a narrow view of the
Mm.
world.
Yeah. How many
And playing,
languages? Yeah.
yeah, how many languages do I speak?
Yeah.
None. I barely speak
Okay.
English. I speak the language of music. But
Uh,
as you know,
yeah.
Aditya,
Yeah.
I'm so lucky
Yeah.
because English is this international language, and unfortunately, I can maybe order breakfast in French and Spanish and German, and but I can say thank you in Russian, but that's it.
Right. You've tried to navigate the ever evolving landscape of modern music. So how do you perceive John Mayer's impact on the contemporary music scene, and in what ways do you think that his approach to guitar and songwriting resonates with today's audience, and how is it relevant for why do people in today's generation love his music?
Oh, they like his music because it's good. He's a talented musician.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's so famous. I don't know. He's a really good guitarist. I enjoy
Hmm.
his lead guitar playing. And as far as singer songwriter, I don't know.
Okay.
Uh, he's just talented, and people love pop songs. Me too.
All right. And I also read somewhere that you love Indian ragas and they resonate with you to a great extent. So, how was your appreciation for the Indian ragas influenced your musical style, if it did? And could you share your experience opening for the legendary Shakti during the show in August at the Ryman Auditorium?
Yes. Um, I'm 71 years old, almost 72 in December. And
Okay.
when I was young in the 60s, during the hippie movement in America, that was when Indian culture
Mm.
was really getting discovered in the United States. Um, and the music with Ravi Shankar
Mm.
and Indian classical music was part of being a young person and being exposed to all different kinds of music. So,
Okay.
when I started to study guitar, we would learn, we would listen to jazz, blues, rock,
Okay.
country music, bluegrass, classical music, classical guitar, and Indian music, you
Mm.
know, and some Indian music. And there was a lot of fake Indian Western music. There was a lot of guys on guitar who would try to play some sort of raga esque uh, improvisations.
Yeah.
And that's really as far as I got with it. But the thing is, the sound of sitar and the sound of Indian music. I hear it in violin and in voice and in all the string instruments in India. There's this sound and this articulation uh, can be appropriated by us in the West on
Okay.
guitar. So it's really uh, I love it, and there's so much for me to learn. And so when I hear the great players uh, in Indian music, it
Hmm.
always affects. I just sit down and try to make sounds kind of like that, but it lasts for like 10 minutes, and then I'm back to jazz and blues. But I love Indian music, and I hope to visit India someday.
You
And
should.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, I would love to host you in my country and show you the different
Uh,
states across India, the
oh
culture and the
wow!
food. Yeah.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
I was talking to John McLaughlin's manager,
Okay.
and he's going to try to help me to
Okay.
find a way to come to India,
Yeah.
because uh, yeah, when I played 3 shows opposite
Okay.
Shakti
Right.
just now, and the music was incredible,
Yeah.
and to get to meet Mr. Shankar, the singer,
Yeah.
uh, and and uh, and of course, the John McLaughlin,
Yeah.
who is my idol and old friend, because he's older than me and showed me the way on guitar along with the older generation,
Yeah.
just a few years older, but those are the guys. And I remember, I first met uh, uh, the band, Shakti, in 1976, when
Oh
I
wow.
was a guitarist with the Billy Cobham band, and
Mm.
we toured opposite Shakti. So that's
Okay.
when I first met Zakir Hussain, the
Mm.
great tabla player, and he was my age. He was a young guy,
Yeah.
and we hung out a little bit. And at that point, the original violinist Shankar
Yeah.
was playing, who was an incredible
Yeah.
violinist,
Yeah.
and I think the new guy actually in Shakti is wonderful as well.
Yeah.
And then I met the original guys then, but
Right.
then I stayed out of touch with them. But to hear them and to tour opposite them now and their 50th anniversary, uh, 50 years of them playing together, I just had a renewed interest in their music and in Indian music.
Marvelous. Marvelous. So, on that note, I want to introduce you to someone really interesting. So, they're called the Revisit Project, and they add their own special touch to jazz, making it more accessible for Indian masses. They blend catchy rhythms, classic funk, and jazzy beats with insightful lyrics about everyday life, relationships, and Indian politics. They recently showcased their admiration for you by means of a song called "Sco," which is their tribute to you, featuring the Revisit Project and Amitav Gautam, who's a young and compelling musician from Chennai. So I'm going to play a little bit of the song for you, Mr. Scofield.
Wow.
So as you can see here, this is the artwork for for the album that was created. It's very unique in their style, in their own inimitable style that they've put together. And now coming to the song, I'm going to play the song for you. that was a little bit a sneak peek of Score, and I'll be sure to send the song. I'll be sure to share a link with you once we're done with our interview. What do you think of the song Score by the Revisit Project and Amitav Gautam, the 18-year-old boy on guitar?
He's only 18?
Yeah, he's just 18 years old. Yeah.
Wow, he plays fantastic. I love it. And I'm honored that they would call it Tune Scope. But listen, those guys are really playing the music. They all sounded really good. I dug a lot, the way the rhythm section played together, and the guitar player's solo is beautiful. His feel was really nice, and I'm knocked out.
I'll be sure to let them know. They must be delighted.
You gotta tell them I love them.
And they also wanted to send you like a physical copy of the CD, and I'll figure a way to send it to you. Yeah.
Well, I will send you my address. Okay.
Yeah, certainly.
I'll send it to you via email. Yeah.
Certainly. I'll be sure to send it across to you.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. In your collaboration with Scary Pockets and Larry Goldings for a series of music videos, what innovative elements or creative approaches did you bring to the project, and how do you see this endeavor pushing the boundaries of contemporary music video production?
Well, that was an interesting project because Larry is an old friend of mine. We've played together. He's been in my band, and we played together for many years. We're old friends, and he's one of the best, actually, in the world. And these guys in LA, they love him. They have like a pop funk band called Scary Pockets.
Yeah.
And they love Larry so much they started another subgroup called Scary Goldings.
Yes.
And then they invited me to play, and they're great. They organized the music, and it was really a different kind of concept because we wrote the songs together in the studio. Okay. So all the songs are very simple, but we had to cut. There's a rule that they make, which is that we have to do it all in 1 hour. And and so we would write the song in 1 hour and then record it. So the records are just from 1 hour of us playing and working out a song. And there's one guy in the bus of that, the keyboard player, not Larry, the other guy, Jack. Okay. And he says, okay, that's a good idea. Oh, no, that's not good. Okay. And he goes around and asks all of us. And then we have those songs, and they're simple, but they're good for us to play on and to do our thing. Yeah. And I just love playing with those guys. And Mono Neon, the bassist, is he's very talented, man. Wow.
Certainly. Since you just showed me your dog, can you share a unique musical experience or a composition inspired by your affection for pets? I believe you had a turtle and you have 2 dogs, right?
Yes, I do. Now I only have 1 dog, but I've had many dachshunds, and I love them all. And sometimes I name songs after them, because in jazz, we always, we write these songs, and the songs maybe aren't about anything.
Okay.
But afterwards you say, oh, that reminds me of my dog. So you name it, and dogs are man's best friend, and I just wish he wouldn't bark so much.
That's all right. I mean, that's maybe he's feeling hungry. You never know.
Oh, he's always hungry. No, he would eat all day if I let him,
All right. Your upcoming release is Uncle John's Band on October 13th, if I'm not mistaken, wherein you embark on a creative reinterpretation of the beloved Grateful Dead track. So could you offer us a tantalizing glimpse into what musical adventures and surprises awaits listeners as part of this album?
Well, one of the things I like about playing with these guys and making the record is that we play many kinds of music on this CD. It's a double CD. I think there are 12 or 13 songs, and we take some old rock tunes like Uncle John's Band and Bob Dylan and Neil Young, and we turn them into kind of open jazz. We actually turn them into kind of free jazz on a couple of the songs. It's pretty uh, experimental in parts, and then we play some bebop classics. We
Okay.
play some jazz standards, and then I wrote a bunch of tunes. You know, some of them are more jazz rock, and some are what we call straight ahead swing and jazz. You know, so the record is really a mixture of a lot of different things, but that's what we can do with this band. You know, and I love playing with these guys because we don't have to talk about it at all. Vicente Archer on acoustic bass
Yeah,
and Bill Stewart on drums, and they are giants, really.
for sure.
And I feel I love playing with them.
I can't wait to have a signed physical copy of the record.
Oh, okay, I do it for you. Yeah.
That'll be great. Uh, I'd like to talk about something a little deep in terms of, do you believe in life after death and the basis of the very cosmic structure? What is your take on something like that?
I don't know. Uh, I, I do not. I don't know, and I really have to tell you that my crystal ball is broken. You know, and I would like to believe
Hmm.
that me would keep going. You
Yeah.
know, and I would like to believe that you would, and I would like to believe that I would see my loved ones someday that are gone. You know, but I really don't know. And I think I really appreciate what somebody said, that when we get outside of ourselves, then we feel better because there's this huge, wonderful world. And if you just leave yourself a little bit, then you might feel a little bit beyond death, you know? And that's kind of a heavy thing to say, but that's all I've got. I'm
What do you
I'm definitely open to learn about that from other people. So you know, I'm looking.
What are some of the spiritual techniques that you personally embody? Do you have any of those?
I No, I don't. Except I stopped drinking and getting high because I
Okay.
had a problem with that.
Okay.
And when I stopped doing that, it allowed me to really live a life. And this is a personal thing for me because I had a problem with it, but that turned out to really be a blessing because then I don't have to think about that. So I don't remove myself in that way anymore. And I think I learned a lot from that. Uh, Other than that, I just sometimes I have to slow down and meditate a little bit, you know, and I
Mhm.
do that, but I just have my own personal way. And I'm not a student of spirituality in that way. But I'd like to learn more. Maybe I will someday.
Right. I have one last question for you, which is a custom in all of my interviews, and I ask all of my distinguished guests this very question. Down in the distant horizon, what would you like to be remembered as, Mr. Schofield?
Guitar player. That's it. Part of the community of musicians, um, and I'd like to be remembered as part of the overall jazz world. Just a, you know, that's it. I wonder, you know, if it's even worth our time to worry about how we'll be remembered. Because I do, but I feel like what I need to do is just in order to make good music right now, to work on it, and to, you know, to be a good person, and to be kind to other humans, and to try to help the world that way, and not worry about too much about when we're gone, you know.
You're very practical with your approach towards everything in life. Incredible to hear that. And that was a
Oh,
great
thank you.
there was a great answer for a closure. This
Yeah.
interview will be additionally aired on Big FM Shillong and Aizawl, two incredible radio stations in the northeastern part of India. And
Wonderful.
it'll also be on my channel on YouTube, Aditya Veera 1994, and it'll also be on audio streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. I'll be sure to share the link once it's out. It's been an incredible blessing, honor, and a privilege, Mr. Scofield. Thank you so much for taking time out and making this happen.
Aditya, it's been an honor to speak with you. Thank you for the insightful, interesting questions. And I wish you the best of luck with your podcast and all your musical endeavors and podcasting endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'd love to stay in touch with you. Take care and have a great day.
We will do. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.